Hi everyone, I'm Katerina. I'm the founder of Green and Gold, where I help women and men in their 20s find techniques to elevate and strengthen their mental health. Now I want to say, I apologize, this is not the normal background I will be shooting these videos in. I will normally be shooting them in my bedroom, which has a nice, pleasing background. It just worked out with scheduling this week that I had to record it here at work. So I apologize for that. I just wanted to be able to get this first video out for you guys. So with that being said, I wanted to ask a question. Have you ever found yourself feeling low once entering the adult world? You know, the joy from high school is over and you're either in college or you're working a full-time job and you just feel stuck. You know, you feel stuck and you feel mentally unstable. And this is due to a lack of teaching regarding mental health. You know, we weren't taught these things. We weren't taught how to spot depression in ourselves and also where to go next. You know, who do I ask for help? Where do I seek answers? We weren't taught these things. Maybe you're wondering, how do I cope with this insane amount of anxiety while also having loads and loads of homework for college and also trying to figure out how I'm going to pay off my student debt, and many more examples like these. This is why millennials are struggling with mental illness now more than ever. And it's because we don't know how to fix ourselves. We don't know how to fix our minds. And that might sound a little crazy. You're probably saying there's no way to fix yourself, but I'm here to tell you that there is. There are so many ways you can fix your mental health or strengthen your mental health, and that's what I'm here to do, is to teach you guys these methods. And now I ask you those questions because I can completely relate. I started Green and Gold because for the longest time I dealt with depression and anxiety. I wasn't taking care of myself for the longest time. I honestly was in denial for the majority of my life because I knew that I had depression, but I didn't want to say it and I didn't want to tell anyone, so I kept quiet for years. And then I went to an acting conservatory school after high school and things got really bad, like really bad. My mental health was in the worst shape it's ever been. And so I had to leave the acting school, which was in Los Angeles, you know, this beautiful city. I was acting, I was with amazing people, and I had to leave because I wasn't going to make it. You know, I was thinking of taking my life, and that was a very real thing for me. And so I went to therapy. I came home and I was on antidepressants. I was going to therapy each week, and it was a lot for me. It was new, it was scary, but I knew that I needed to be there. I knew that I had to get help. So I went through months of this, trying to build myself back up from scratch. You know, I had no instruction guide on how to deal with life after therapy or how to deal with life after your dreams have been crushed or after you leave the most beautiful city in the world. I mean, no instructions. I was doing it all on my own. And so after some time, I realized that the depression had left my body for the most part, and the anxiety was still around, but it was manageable. So I was okay with that. And at this point, I felt full and complete for like a few weeks. I said, you know, I did everything right. I went to therapy, I asked for help, and I got to a point where I felt I didn't need therapy anymore and I didn't need to be on antidepressants anymore. So I stopped both. I went cold turkey with it, which was a good choice in my life. I know everybody has a different path, but for me it felt right. And I was good for a while. You know, I thought this is what life should be like. I should be sort of happy and I should feel like I'm doing good. But then I started feeling stuck and I started feeling incomplete again. And I wasn't necessarily as bad as I was before therapy, but I was stuck. I had plateaued. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't elevating as much as I wanted to be. And that's because I just let it be. I just let things be. I was like, okay, I don't need to do any work on myself because I did things right. I went to therapy. You know, this is life now. And that was completely untrue. And so I had little dips of sadness again and a lot of ups and downs, and I wasn't really sure what to do. I was like, do I need to go back to therapy? Do I need to go back on medication? I don't know. And then I started researching other methods I could do to help my mental health, and I saw other people in my life doing these things, and it seemed like it was helping their mental health a lot. And so I was curious, and I immersed myself in complete self-care, and it changed my life. It seriously changed my life. And I realized that up until that point, I had just been existing, just coasting along, going through the motions. And after realizing what personal development was and applying it to myself, I started truly living. And there's such a difference. Let me tell you, like, there is a huge difference between the two. I changed my life completely. I changed what I was eating. I changed the way I was thinking. I started journaling and doing gratitude and meditating, which I still haven't mastered, but I'm working on it. And I just started picking out these little things that I could do in my day that would just put me on a whole nother level mentally. And all of these things put together have launched me into the most amazing personal growth journey that I have ever been on, the only one I've ever been on. And this was over a span of a few months. It wasn't like I took 10 years to do this. It was over a few months where I noticed a difference, which for me was enough to say, okay, let's keep going. Let's never stop this because it is so effective. And now, looking back on before I went to therapy, when I was quiet about mental illness because I was nervous people would make fun of me or people would see me as less than, or even during therapy where I wasn't really sure what I was doing, I was scared. The people in therapy were amazing, but I still was just kind of scared. And even after therapy, when I wasn't sure where to go, it's kind of like after high school and they just push you out and they're like, okay, do it on your own now. And you're like, what? So looking back on those times, I wish that I had an outlet to figure out these healing methods sooner and these things that I could do to strengthen my mental health. Green and Gold is that outlet for you all and for myself. One of my favorite quotes, and I'm blanking on who it's by, but one of my favorite quotes is, "Be the person you needed when you were younger." And I saw that a few years ago, and it kind of changed my perspective on everything. And I said, mental health has been such a huge thing in my life. And when I was younger, I had no voice regarding mental health. I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone about it. I couldn't tell anyone I was sad or feeling different than my friends. I just didn't want to talk about it because nobody talks about it. In a larger setting, nobody really talks about it. And not that it should be normalized, like, oh, it's okay to be depressed. It shouldn't be normalized, but seeking help should be normalized. And it hasn't been for many years. And so I wanted to be that help that I needed when I was 12 years old and the depression really started. You're going through puberty and everything's different and changing. And on top of that, you have depression and you feel like you can't talk to anyone about it. I don't want that for the future generations. And even if you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, I don't want that anymore. I want the conversation to start and I want it to never end. And so that's what I'm doing with Green and Gold. I am being that person I needed when I was younger. Now I wanted to trace it back to the name Green and Gold because it's not just colors, it has meaning behind it. So if you split up the words, green means whatever changes you've made in your life to better yourself. Whether that means eating or taking better care of yourself or changing your relationships with people or with your world. And so that is the green. And now the gold part means making sure you take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically so that you can feel like gold on the inside. And of course, as most of us know, when you feel like gold on the inside, it's going to shine on the outside. There's no other way. And so that being said, Green and Gold has a lot of meaning to me, and I hope that it can start having meaning to everyone else. Now, there are 3 different sections of Green and Gold. I have the Green and Gold blog, which is where everything started. I'm a big writer. I love writing out my feelings, and so I decided, let's make a blog. And on the blog, I research and write original articles that range from DIY health tips to mindfulness exercises, clean eating recipes, whatever, you name it. And so there's a lot of methods and outlets on the blog that you can use that can better yourself. And the second part of Green and Gold is my ebooks, which will eventually turn into physical books that you can buy. These are books that dive deeper into the topics that I talk about on the blog. You know, a blog is a few paragraphs, but the books dive deeper into the topics and give you more examples and exercises. And an example, my first one was how environment plays a role in mental health. So omitting toxic relationships in your life, because that's a huge one. And so that's just one example, and there's going to be more to come. Stay tuned. And now the third part is this YouTube channel. I really wanted to extend Green and Gold into something more personal, and I think podcasts and YouTube vlogs are very personal, and I love that about them. And I chose the YouTube thing because I think it's a really cool way to connect. And now on this YouTube channel, what I will be doing is I'll be sharing stories and methods I've used to further advance my mental health. And in turn, hopefully helping others in the same spot as me, or those who were in the same spot as me a few years ago. And now, full disclosure, I am not a doctor. That is obvious. I won't be giving out any medical advice ever, because I'm just not in a place to, and I don't think it would be safe for me to do so. I advise that if you are just now learning about your mental health, or that you feel it is at its worst, please seek medical attention, please. Whether that's a doctor or going into therapy or telling your family, please do that first, because I think that's very important that everyone is safe in their approach to bettering themselves. And so if you feel you are in that beginning stage or you're in a really bad place, please seek medical attention first. Now, with that being said, if you haven't gone to therapy yet, or if you're in therapy, or if you are out of therapy, or maybe you don't feel like therapy is right for you, or you just can't work it into your schedule, which was a factor for me a long time ago, which sucks, but if you are any of these, I recommend using these methods at any point, because I truly believe they can help anyone at any point. I will never give out false information or something that doesn't serve your best interest. Everything I talk about on this channel will be thoroughly researched by myself and others, and also tried and true by myself and others. So I'm giving out information that I feel is valuable. So these methods will be things such as meditation, clean eating, and even some interviews in the near future. And each video will tackle a different topic. One of them will be journaling and gratitude. And they're all going to be tied to how they help strengthen your mental health. I want to do one each video because I really want to dive into the topic. And the thing is, you don't have to do all of them. I practiced all of them, and I decided which ones I liked best, which ones I didn't have to use so much, etc. So I just want to lay all of them out, but don't feel overwhelmed. To start out, I'll be posting a new video each Wednesday, like I said, with one of these topics. And in the future, I'd definitely like to do more with this channel, but I just want to get the ball rolling and see how you guys react to it. I'd love for this to be a platform to connect and to talk to people, for you guys to ask questions, for me to give you guys the answers that you need. I just really want this to be a positive place. However, I will say that this isn't going to be your average glamorous YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about the tough things. Mental health is a tough topic, and I'm going to talk about the ugly stuff and the bad stuff, because it's needed to be talked about. And again, my mission is to start the conversation surrounding mental health and to keep it going. So this was just a little intro video. I wanted to introduce myself to you guys. I wanted you to hear my backstory. Of course, I could go into depth about it, and in the future, I think I may do so. But I just wanted you all to know that I relate and that I'm not ashamed to talk about mental health, and you shouldn't be either. And I can't wait for you guys to go on this little journey with me, and I hope that each video provides value. So let's get it going, guys. Don't forget to stay green and gold, Until next time.